There's a time and place to use a twin needle or a double needle. And on the Singer Featherweight sewing machine, I want to show you just a couple tricks for setting up for using this type of needle. So usually what you see on the package is the size. So a twin needle might say 2.0, so that means that those two needles are 2 millimeters apart. 3 millimeters apart or 4 millimeters apart. So it's a little wider. So we use twin needles for like some top stitching if you want to duplicate kind of that hem that you see on t-shirts. You can do it with pin tucks as you see by the packaging, and you can also use it for decorative stitches. So I'm going to show you how you thread for a twin needle or double needle, those terms are interchangeable, and then how you can do the decorative stitches, because you do need to adjust the width, because this machine won't know when you put a twin needle on that you will want to narrow down the stitch width so it doesn't break. So those are the couple things I just want to show you really fast. So let's start off with just a straight stitch. So that's all set. We'll go ahead and take out our single needle, and then we'll use two different threads here. Now, I'll give you a little hint. When you do work with decorative stitches, the narrower of the twin needles will give you the most bang for your buck, because they really do give you a nice look. Now, it doesn't matter what your bobbin is. The bobbin does double duty and really gives you a nice look. We also can utilize our vertical spool pin and felt pad. So I'm going to put this here. This goes on top of your bobbin winder, actually. Isn't that funny? All right. And I am going to thread this up, but I need to unthread the other one. So here we go. So I'm going to put my pink one into the first guide, and then they'll both come around the back here. Now, right here, this is where you will find there's a little piece of metal that will allow these two threads to be separated for the tensions. That way, each thread will get its own tension when that foot comes down and the discs close on the threads. I'm going to hold here, give this a little pull, and then that way we'll know that those threads are nice and deep where they need to be. Now, when you get down to your needle, keep in mind that your needle threader does not line up when there's two needles. Only lines up where that needle is in the center. So you are on your own for threading these needles. You will find that there are handheld needle threaders that will help you if you have trouble. And it doesn't matter which thread goes in which needle. So just pick a side and go. All right, so we are threaded. So we'll just pretend that those are all together in the same area. Let's test and make sure that we really are getting the nice stitch that we're looking for. And we will find that if we just start off with just a straight stitch, we don't have to adjust anything. But when we go to, for example, a zigzag, you do want to make sure that you do have your stitch width, not your length, your stitch width no wider than 5 millimeters wide. So this machine will sew 7 millimeters wide, and 7 minus 2 is 5 millimeters. So any decorative stitch we pick will need to actually adjust that down to be that reduced width. Now, just because you adjust it with one particular stitch doesn't mean you need to do it each time you pick a new stitch. Look how fun that's going to be. Okay, so let's pick some stitches that are a little bit more open, not too heavy. I see stitch number, actually 35 looks kind of fun. We'll go right to the stitch width. It's at 7. We'll reduce it down to 5 or less. You could even do 4.5 to be truly safe. And then just go ahead and sew. And every stitch is going to look totally different, because when you put a twin needle on, you'll definitely get a whole new look for a stitch. So that looks fun. How about stitch number 38? Narrow it down. So always narrow before you stitch. Don't get too excited and forget to do that. So I'm going to do the 4.5. And here's like a little straight stitch scallop. Oh, I like this. Okay. And you can just stitch out. Remember we talked about sewing out all the decorative stitches? Now we're talking about sewing out all your decorative stitches, but this time with a twin needle.